Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What would you say you do here?
God damn it. Bob, we love playing here tonight. My brother's running.
It helps if you think of it as a game, Bob. Every game has a winner and a loser.
You must possess strength to inflict pain, Bob.
Wake me up. Can't
Before
wake
you
up.
Oh, that was a jitterbug or something.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know what that was. But welcome, everybody. We are live with the Two Bobs Cast, episode 79. We are a to Z rock and metal podcast coming to you live almost every Tuesday. Hopefully soon we'll try to get back on that schedule. All the crazy stuff in the summer and all that fun stuff going on. So welcome, everybody. Again, 79. We are, season 3, like episode 4. So A, B, C, D, E, 5, episode 5. So good to see everybody out there.
Whoa, that was weird.
Yeah, I know. I lost
just cut
for
out.
a second. Yeah, you froze for a second, but you're back. Anyway.
I am back, yeah.
I am
episode
here once
5.
again. Yeah, episode 5. I'm here once again with my partner, Mr. H. How you doing, Mr. H? What's new with you?
I'm doing good. You're here with me now.
I am.
We'll see what happens in 5 minutes. I've got this new laptop that I'm attempting to... Well, I did the Dockin podcast on it too, but that was in a different state many miles away, and I was just doing it on the laptop. Now I've got everything hooked up through it. So anyway, we won't get into that all technical crap, but it seemed to be working until 5 seconds ago. But I'm doing pretty good. I'm falling apart as the old man that I am, but nothing major. I mean, nothing that I won't get through. So, but
Excellent.
It's just that the old man stuff that happens. Your back, your joints, whatever. I mean, it's middle of summer. Why do I feel this way? But I don't know. I guess you overdo it, and what can you do? But
yes, sir.
This was an eye-opening experience. That's for sure. Evanescence and sentence.
Evanescence. But yeah, as you alluded to this week, again, last week, we were at D with Dockin, and this week we will be at E with Evanescence. Actually worked out pretty good timing. They just came out with a new record.
Yes.
We usually don't like to do too many bands that have too few albums. We want to at least be able to go into a discography. They have 5 now. Actually, they have 6, but the one is it was Synthesis, I think it's called. So we're not going to rank that one. That's like remakes of a bunch of their other songs.
Yeah, there's only 2 tracks on it, 2 new tracks or 2 original new tracks.
We're gonna rank the other 5, including the new record Sanctuary. And I also, again, being that I work these different shows, this tour just came through last week. So I will actually get into that later. Hopefully I remember to get into it towards the end of it. I don't want to give away too much of my thoughts. I feel like the review of my concert is going to give away a little bit to what I'm thinking. But anyway, before we get into that, anything new going on with you? I don't think you've been. You were gone, so you haven't gone to any shows, right? You were out of the state for a little while.
Correct. I did see the X Faces in South Carolina on July 4th, which is ex-members of Mushroom Head, which was fantastic. Those guys are just absolutely amazing. So they're all ex-Mushroom Head members with a cool little gimmick. Like, they still have masks on. They're still wearing a lot of their old stuff, but it's all ex-members. There's enough ex-members now where they can create a second band and all do the same songs that Mushroom Head can do, because all of these guys were in Mushroom Head for all of those songs. So they all have songwriting credits, and they can all do all these songs. It's crazy. But they're so good. They're so much better than current touring Mushroom Head is right now.
Yeah.
It's more of the, as you know, and we talked a lot about on the Mushroom Head podcast, it's more the old school feel. It's not a lot of, there's not there's not huge backdrops and a lot, it's them tearing through songs and just like doing old stuff that they used to do. It's fantastic, and it's cool to see them do it before they're too old to do it, right? So they've been around since 93, so you're talking 30 plus years already. So they're same age, some of them as I am, a little bit older, and the stuff they do is just, it's crazy. So it was fantastic. It really was. Me and my brother drove an hour each way from my dad's house to see them in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And a place called Ground Zero, which is just this little place, no air conditioning. It was like 90-something degrees that day. They had one of those gigantic industrial fans. I mean, this thing was like 5 feet tall, this fan, in this tiny little place. So there was constant like air movement. So it was fine. And sounded great. They have a great sound system in there, but, just really old, just empty space, basically small empty space with a bar like kind of upstairs. Stairs aren't even like lit up, so when it's kind of dark in there, my brother's like, man, I almost killed myself on those stairs over there, because I turn around, I'm like, yep, you can't even see them, they're just there. So, but it was a fantastic show though. But yeah, it was the only one I saw. Motionless in White came to the Carolina, whatever the pavilion is in Charlotte, I can't think of the name of it, but they came there, but I wasn't able to go to that one. It was only a few days before I came home, so it was like end of July, but that was the only other one I would have kind of considered going to see. I did look to see if there were any other ones playing in the area, any other bands that I could have went and checked out, even at small places, and there really wasn't that I could find, so...
Okay.
So, yeah, I got to go to the one, and, we kind of planned that ahead of time. I already had tickets for that. It was kind of right when I got down there, so... But, yeah, it was cool. Good stuff. Did you go see anybody? Or you work any good ones?
No,
besides, we'll talk about Evanescence later, but... Yeah,
not really. A lot... not a lot came through. Like, Five Finger Death Punch comes through in a couple weeks. And Motley Crue, I don't have to work that one. I think that's probably a godsend. To where they are now and what I've heard. A lot of other stuff that I don't necessarily listen to, but were fine. Like Train came through. They were fine. Yep. I'm not a huge fan, but they got a lot of recognizable stuff. Bare Naked Ladies, they were fine.
Did you work that one?
Yep. I did work that one.
Yeah, my buddy Rob was at that one, so I should have let him know. But again, I was out of town, so
right.
I was trying to get you guys together and have them go find you somehow, but...
Yeah, another interesting one. I told you a little bit about it. I can't remember if I talked about it on the pod last week, but Ted Nugent was interesting. That guy still, again, take away all his nonsensical stuff that comes along with him. About him. But the guy up on stage was still killing it. So I give him a lot of credit. I think he's like 78 years old, and he still plays all the leads on all his songs and. All their hits that they went through. So I was really impressed by him. He, sings a lot, not everything, but he sings a lot, and he plays all those solos. And like playing Cat Scratch Fever just sounded awesome in that little place. And you've seen shows there. It sounds fantastic in that venue.
One of the best sounding venues we have in this area, strangely enough, for just a flat room.
Yeah,
it's just their sound system is killer. Everything sounds great in there. I mean, I've seen Philip Phillips there. I've seen metal there. I've seen all kinds of I've seen Striper there. I've seen all kinds of different kinds of music, and it all sounds amazing there. All of it.
Yeah, so that was a highlight. Again, I'd seen him open up, I think, for like Aerosmith or Kiss or whoever it was back in the day, and that was in those big arena venues that don't typically sound all that great. So seeing him,
Ghost is playing there.
Well, Ghost, they're like engineers or something. Right. So, But they got a movie coming to theaters in a couple weeks that I'll be interested to try to check out if I can. So that could
Ted
be cool.
Nugent?
No, Ghost. We love
What
our
is
Ghost,
that one? Is
so.
it just another?
Yeah,
live
it's
show?
like the other one. Yeah, but I
Okay.
guess there's supposed to be less story or whatever. But it's this last tour, the Skeletor tour.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll see. It might be cool. It might not. I don't know. We were disappointed.
Are you gonna
me
go
and
see
Hendo-
it in the
Yeah, I
theater?
think last movie that came, me and Hendo saw it, and the movie was good, but the sound wasn't great from the theater. Like we paid
Okay.
extra for like whatever XD or whatever is the Cinemark thing is, like IMAX kind of, but it's supposed to be like better sound. But the movie like wasn't set up for the extra sound, so it didn't really benefit us in any way. So
Okay.
kind of a bummer, but anyway, we'll see how that goes. It should be cool. Again, much as my son likes Ghost and I like Ghost, we'll see how it goes, and we'll see. I don't know if Hendo's gonna go. I'll figure out what night I'm gonna go, and I'll ask you and Hendo and see if
Yeah.
anybody wants.
Yeah,
to
let
go
me
that
know.
night.
And then Kelly's seen him a couple times now. She'd probably go with me too. So
Yeah.
let me know when you're gonna go. Interesting.
Cool,
I did not know that was happening.
Yep. But anyway, the reason we are here today is to talk about Evanescence. Mr. H, what do you have about Evanescence?
Evanescence formed in Little Rock, Arkansas in 1994 by a teenaged Amy Lee and Ben Moody. It would remain just the two of them until after their first album, Fallen, came out in 2003. After that, Amy Lee is the only constant member. They're originally kind of combining many styles like goth and metal, rock, classical, all to kind of create their own sound, which was really cool kind of at the time. It's just kind of truly emotional, like lyrics about, love, pain, and loss, that kind of stuff, written by Amy Lee and kind of constant throughout their catalog. Amy Lee was a bit of a child prodigy, learning to play piano at 6 and writing lyrics and arranging songs at around like age 10 or 11, and then meeting guitarist Ben Moody at a youth camp where they both kind of felt like kind of outcasts, and then kind of found each other, and she presented him with some music that she had written on guitar with some vocals, and he played guitar too. And then that was at like age 13, and they formed this partnership, which was a band that they came up with the name, the logo, everything at that time. They'd play shows kind of in their area once in a while, but kind of focus more on songwriting. They both said that they would play like twice a year in the Little Rock area, acoustic shows or whatever, but they mostly just wanted to write songs. So for a long time before truly recording a full album, so we're talking almost 10 years, and then getting signed and then putting a touring band together, and then things fell apart between the two of them. So the first album came out in 2003, March 4th, called Fallen. There's 11 songs on here. This is produced by Dave Fortman, and what a great sounding debut album. I mean, it seemed like everybody kind of knew right away that they had some really big songs in here, and they were able to kind of get funding. I think I think the record companies knew this was big. The Bring Me to Life and which other song? One other song was in the Daredevil movie, which came out February 14th, so only
My
like
Immortal.
3 weeks before this album came out. My Immortal, yes, sorry. Those were both in that movie. I can't remember. I mean, I bought this album for Bring Me to Life. I'm not going to, say I didn't, but I don't remember if I first heard that in the movie or if I heard it on the radio. I mean, the song, it blew up. It was everywhere. You couldn't really escape it. So, but I bought the album, not right when it came out, but soon after I heard Bring Me to Life, and I'm like, wow, this is good. I'm like, let me go check this out. This kind of isn't really like anything I've heard before. It did have the rapping in it, which, was popular at the time, and that was something that the record label made them do. And Amy and Ben, neither one of them wanted to do that. But the record label, I guess, wanted like 6 or 7 songs like that on the album, and they compromised to doing the one, which happened to be the biggest one, of course. So, but I remember buying this album and listening to it, and I was blown away by how great this entire album is. It still holds up. It's absolutely amazing. So I do really, really like this album. Again, this is the only album with guitarist and longtime Amy Lee collaborator Ben Moody. Amy and Ben wrote this album over a number of years with a guy named David Hodges, who was kind of with them from 2002, 2003, kind of right before this album came out. But they are the only 2 listed band members on the album. So session musicians were used for bass and drums. And then David Hodges played piano and keys on the album also. But the band is listed as Ben Moody and Amy Lee, and that's it on the first album. I feel like, I want to say this too, I feel like Ben Moody gets a bit of a bad rap for being kind of overbearing and controlling and kind of commercially focused, which was the biggest problem with the music. He was so commercially focused from accounts that he was trying to shape songs so they would be a better fit for playing on the radio, being in movies. And that may have been the case, and he admitted as much later on. But he was also very young, and apparently, most importantly, he was right. He was right. Look at the numbers. I mean, he went on to help write and produce songs for many pop and rock stars, which totally makes sense because he's writing to try to, for kind of popularity's sake, or he's trying to form songs that fit, into what was being played. So, but like I said, he made her and him a ton of money. So it's just kind of, Amy Lee has also admitted to kind of being young and kind of felt embarrassed for a long time about these songs that she wrote as a teenager, these angsty teenager songs that are on this album. And Ben Moody has since apologized and praised Amy as an artist and said, hey, that was a different time. I was a young guy. Like, I'm sorry, for mean things that I said to her or that I was too controlling. Like, I've grown, I'm an adult now, and to which Amy has had apparently no reply to any of that. None of the normal human being stuff of, it wasn't all you. I'm sure there was some me too. You didn't get any of that from Amy Lee. So it's just, the more I read about Amy Lee, I didn't know much about her other than she was kind of a musical prodigy and that she was a good songwriter, had a great voice. She played piano. Like, I knew that stuff, but I didn't really know anything about her as a person. And the more I read, the more I feel like I don't really know how much I really like her as a person. And she doesn't seem to take a lot of ownership of some of the stuff that might have been her fault in all these things that happened to her along the way. But anyway, I just wanted to get the Ben Moody stuff out there that guy, where we all did stupid stuff when we were young, so the fact that he owned up to it, like, I give him credit for that. And it seems like kind of nobody does. Everybody just kind of leaves all the blame for the split up on him. And I feel like that's wrong. So anyhow, he also came out with an album later on, funny enough, in 2010, I believe, called We Are the Fallen, which this album's called Fallen. So I thought that was kind of funny. And it's very Evanescence sounding, but it's also a really good album too. So if you have a chance, check that out too. It is a really good album. It's the only one they put out, though. The Paul McCoy rap, as I mentioned, was kind of forced on them. Also, I felt like listening to this, it's been way too long since I gave this album a spin. I don't listen to it very often. It's outstanding. I wasn't sure how much I'd still like it, but I do still love it. Like, song after song after song, I was like, I love this one and this one, and there's not a song on here I don't know and I don't like at all. I love them all. So there's too many kind of favorites to mention on here. Some of the deeper cuts I really love are Haunted. It's got a really cool sounding song with great guitar work in it. Also, Hello is a kind of a beautiful, haunting song that Amy Lee wrote for her younger sister that died at 3 when she was 6, I believe. And that kind of affected her pretty strongly at the time. And she wrote that song for her sister. It's another fantastic song. And Whisper which is the last track on the album. I love the big guitar riff in that one. It's just great stuff there. There's absolutely no skippers on here at all. This is an A+, which I wasn't sure I'd be giving Evanescence an A+, but here I am. I don't give out many of these, but it's such an outstanding album. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to every second of this, like I didn't think I would. And this is a band and album with its own style, made up of many other styles, just outstanding songwriting, musicianship, vocals, production. I wish all the albums were this good. And I feel like Amy Lee kind of gets all the credit and Ben Moody doesn't get any. I mean, he was as much a part of this as she was. So just fantastic stuff. And the songwriting still has never been the same since he left. So you take that for what it is. So I don't want to put it all on Amy, because obviously Ben took part and he takes responsibility for his part of it. But I've never heard Amy Lee take responsibility for her part of it. But anyway, this album is absolutely fantastic. A+, number one, so easy, not even close. What did you think of Fallen?
Well, I like Fallen more than I like anything else, so it will be my number one as well. But I don't like it as much now as I did before. And I think that's the main difference here. With me, it's got moments that I think really do stand up. I don't know what it is, but with me and Evanescence, I get kind of bored with the more classical sounding stuff. It really starts to flow together for me less on this album, and I think that's why this is number one for me. I don't think that they have put together a full album for me that keeps my attention. And I think maybe it's because at times they have a lack of guitar, right? Or a lack of, and I think that's the reason why people love them like they do, right? Because like you said, they do have many different styles in here that kind of forms their own style that makes them Evanescence, right? But to me, and it's probably why a lot of maybe hard rocker guys don't come back to these albums as much, right? Because they do teeter a lot on very good riffs and in songwriting, and then other times they are more like piano leads, right? Piano, orchestral leads, things of that nature. And that's kind of with me where it starts to lose me a little bit, where it's hard for me to tell the difference between a lot of these songs, right? And it's, again, I always kind of say this out loud, is I know people love it, and it's more of a me thing than it is a them thing, right? It's more of a what I prefer, what I like. So, again, saying this is number one, that was easy. I agree with you there. I think there's moments of this that I don't think are as good as others. And to me, I think a lot of their albums are very top heavy. I think a lot of them lose me later on with a lot of those orchestral arrangements. It just seems how they set up the albums, right? So looking at Fallen, like those first 5 songs to me are incredible, right? Going Under, Bring Me to Life, Everybody's Full, My Immortal, though My Immortal, I need the band to kick in there at the end. I know there's versions of it out there where after the breakdown, it just continues with her piano. I need the band to kick in. I need the guitar to hit. Like, to me, that's what made that song so great, was the haunting beginning, right? Where she's kind of like sad and telling the story, and then I've been alone all along, and then the drums hit. Like, I need that. Like, to me, that's half of what makes that song so great, is the dynamics between the soft and then the heavy. So give me I guess they call it the band version. Give me that version all day long.
I agree.
Which they do live, and we'll get into that, where the band just kind of hangs off. She's there by the piano, the haunting beginning, and then the drums, and then the band kicks in like that. Goosebumps. Like, to me, that's goosebumps moment right there, because of the dynamics, and she's really, really good at that. Like, I think that's what makes Evanescence really good. but I don't think they utilize that in their toolbox all the time. I think sometimes they rely on, oh, this is one of my orchestral songs, and that's what they do. And then this one is a rocking song. Like, if they meshed it more often, I think I would be more on board, right? I would be more fully on board. Second half of the album for me is kind of hit or miss, and I think that's just kind of the difference between where we see these albums. Like Whisper, like you mentioned, I think is a great album closer. I think it's probably their best album closer. It's a fantastic song.
Yeah, not saying a lot for album closers, so I'll get into that later. But it's fantastic. But the version on Spotify has the band version of My Immortal at the end, which, as you said, is much better. But I think that's exactly the problem with Ben and Her, is that I think Ben wanted to put more stuff in the songs. He wanted more guitar riffs in there to offset the quiet, awesome stuff that she does with her great voice. But I think that was the push and pull, right? And that's why this album worked, is because there was kind of both there, right? Yep. And there are a couple slow songs, Hello and My Immortal, that don't have any of the band stuff in there. But I think that was the rift between the two. And then Amy won out, and that's why the next bunch of albums, there's, like you said, where's the guitar in a lot of places? That's because she wants it her way. She doesn't want it to have a partnership with somebody else, you know? So, it keeps going back to that, man. I just keep finding evidence of that sprinkled along the way, you know? It's sad. Yep. They could have been just gigantic, you know? It really is.
Well, I think they still finally getting. I think they're getting back there. Honestly, and we'll get to that with the new album. But yeah, I think Amy probably realized that there's something there, right? And I think that goes back to where I feel like she is realizing her mistakes and not necessarily, like you said, saying it out loud. But I think it speaks volumes with how the music has finally changed a little bit. So back to Fallen, again, to me it's their strongest album, and it's not close, like you said. I'm not in A territory with any of their albums, but this is a B plus to me. Again, the best that they have done, at least so far. But it was close with me with another album that's coming up. It was close, but this is number one, B plus for me. And again, where it just kind of misses out for me, I think, is the unsteadiness of it. But all the albums here thereafter, like you said, it suffers even more from what I'm saying. So, Fallen, again, I loved it when it first came out. I still really like it, and I still think there's some fantastic songs here. But now that I'm 45 years old, and this album's been out for 25 years, like, I don't need to listen to the whole thing anymore. I can pick and choose what I want to listen to, and I can do the Going Under and Everybody's Full and Bring Me to Life and Whisper, right, and Tourniquet. I think Tourniquet's a cool song, but I don't have to listen to some of those slower ones that you like Hello, like that. I'm just kind of like, I'm okay with that one. So a B plus, number one, for Fallen.
All right. I guess for me, it hasn't fallen off. I kept thinking I was going to shut it off. I kept thinking, well, not shut it off, but I kept thinking I'm going to get to the end of these groups of songs, and I was going to be like you and be like, yeah, okay, this is, I could probably do without this one. It never happened for me.
It's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Good news.
So I mean, it was. That's just that. I think that was the difference. All right, on to The Open Door. So here we are. This is 3 years later. I'm going to talk about this band's lack of putting material out too, which really I think hurts them. But this is 3 years, so 3.5 years. September 25th, 2006. There's 13 songs on here. This is again produced by Dave Fortman. Kind of a continuation of Fallen, sort of in ways, but without Ben Moody as songwriting partner with Amy. Replaced by Terry Balsamo from Cold, another band that I liked for a little while.
Me too.
But the songs just aren't nearly as good here. huge props to Terry Balsamo, though. Here's a little story that I found that I didn't know about. He suffered a stroke from a torn neck artery in studio while recording the album. The doctors said he was paralyzed in half his body. The doctors said he'd never play guitar again, but by somewhat miracle and hard work to overcome the paralysis, he was able to play guitar again and able to continue on recording the album later on. So that it did kind of push back. At least there's a reason for this one that it took so long for it to come out. That's a pretty darn good reason, I think. So apparently Amy and Ben, I guess I probably should put this note in the first one, but it came up while I was researching this album. Apparently they could never, not never, because they did write songs together early on, but I guess in a number of years leading up to Fallen, they couldn't even write together anymore, as their creative differences would always kind of stall the writing process. But she said with Terry on guitar, she could collaborate with someone like in real time. And again, when you listen to the songs, I take collaborate as I want to do it this way and we're going to do it this way. And Terry's like, okay, I'll play along with that. That's, to me, was the creating in real time and able to collaborate with somebody. That's what I took out of that in all the things that I read. It did work better with Moody, to me, for sure, though. Maybe the band kind of needed that friction and tension that kind of shone through in the songs, that it just made this kind of boring-ish at times, this album. Again, and Amy seems like she's a very emotional person, obviously, and I think it's what makes her a good songwriter also, though, as well. So when I say songs are boring, it's more like what you said for the first album. It's more that it's not my style of music. It's not that the songs are bad. Like they're still at this point super popular. These songs are getting played on the radio, some of them a lot. There's some of them have hundreds of millions of listens on Spotify, which is more than most every other band. But to me, it's just it loses the edge that there was in the first one. Like there isn't all these great riffs that Ben Moody was playing. There's some, but there's not the whole bunch of them, where almost every song, except for the Amy solo songs, which there's 2 of, every song has a really good Ben Moody guitar riff in it, which that's what I need. That's what you need. That's what we were talking about, But then on this album, there's a lot of that's missing. Like this is more Amy, the Amy Lee show here. So, and for example, Lacrimosa, the song, it incorporates the Lacrimosa sequence of Mozart's Requiem, which is Amy Lee's favorite piece of music. Now that song is, kind of mostly her, and it's, this was her thing. This is what she wanted to do. This wasn't a push and pull between 2 different, songwriters trying to get to some compromise, but having some tension, which apparently made great songs on the first album. So as we go here, they're if you can even look on Spotify, their number of listens on each album drop lower and lower and lower every album. So there's really good reason for that. It's just she's writing stuff that feels good to her, which is good because it's her band and that's what probably she should be doing, but it's also not what really appeals to the huge masses of people like on Fallen, which had kind of something for everybody, It had the vulnerable piano side of her playing just a kind of a hauntingly beautiful song here and there, but it also had the heaviness, of guitar and like the heavy metal stuff, so it kind of opened it up for a lot more different people, where on this one it just starts to lose that, and it just keeps losing it as we go along. My favorites on here are Sweet Sacrifice, Cloud 9, I liked a lot. The song The Only One is probably my favorite song here, and it's the song, to me, that sounds the most like it would fit on the Fallen album. There's a really good guitar riff in there. It has a really catchy hook, so it's kind of more in line with what was on there. It's like the 10th song. It's really kind of buried in there. And All That I'm Living For, I liked a lot also. That's the 12th song. Skippers for me are Lose Control. It's a slow song. It's the 9th song. It just kind of doesn't do it for me. I find myself bored with most of the song. And here's where we really fell off is in the album Closer, Good Enough, same thing. It's a really boring song. Now, I really liked Hello and My Immortal on the first album. I really liked those songs a lot, even though they're mostly Amy just solo. But in this case, it's the same thing, and this doesn't even come close to that. Like, so I feel like she kind of spent that. I'm not sure there's another song in their catalog that I like that just she does by herself as much as I like those two songs, and they're on the same album. There's nothing else in the catalog that's anywhere near that good that she does. Most of that stuff that she does, I'm bored by after that. I'm like, okay, these aren't nearly as good as that, so I don't know what I'm doing here. So I have this kind of as a B minus. This is number 4 in their catalog for me. It's a solid album, I guess. It's just, most of it just isn't very memorable to me. There's kind of a couple of standout songs, and the rest of it's just okay. There's some very similar sounding songs also. It gets a little kind of repetitive. But they also are keeping the sound true to who they are, which I can appreciate. Like, Amy's trying to keep it similar to what she's been doing, and she does stay in her box of this is kind of what we sound like. Yeah, there's more orchestra and less guitar, but it generally is kind of about the same formula. And I know I do complain about bands that try to go too far outside their box. We just talked about Dokken and some of the stuff they did in the 90s. It just is terrible. It's because they're trying to do things that they're not good at doing. Well, Evanescence doesn't do that. So, and I'll talk later about how they update their sound, but we'll get to that one later because that's definitely not here. This is just, it's Evanescence, but it's the more boring side of it that I don't care for nearly as much as I did the first album. Again, not terrible for, people. It was super popular. Just not for me. So again, to be nice, I'm giving it's kind of solid for what it is. There are some good songs in here. The really big one is Call Me When You're Sober. It's not one of my favorite songs in here. I don't hate it, but it's just not one of my favorite songs in here. But that was the really big one off of this album. But anyway, I have this, like I said, B- range, number 4 for Open Door. What did you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of alongside with you here. This is definitely a step down, and we kind of already talked about this, both of us, where she did separate it pretty clearly between what she was going to do with her and piano and what was going to be done with the band. I definitely am on the side of band, but I really do like the songs on here that I like a lot more than a lot of these other albums coming up. So this one is my number 3. Where it's your number 4, and it's just because I think when this album is firing on all cylinders, I think it's pretty good. Problem is it's all front loaded for me. Like Sweet Sacrifice, I really like Call Me When You're Sober. I really like Weight of the World. Cloud 9, as you mentioned, is another one of my favorites. But after that, it's kind of slim pickings for me, and it kind of loses its luster. Lithium is a song that she constantly plays live, and I just wish she would play something else to me. And again, I'm sure all the women that go see him will sing along, and that means something to them. I just feel like those songs are aimed more at the ladies that are going through a breakup, or the ladies. You're dividing your audience. It's like, to me, it's like I want to hear Sweet Sacrifice live. I don't want to hear Lithium live. And again, I'm not her target audience, I don't think. But at least later on, I think she starts to realize maybe I should go back to some of my other styles more. But that again, this album, I think when it is firing, I think it's great. If we would have the 4 songs that I named, if we would have gotten another 4 like that, then this would be up there with the first album for me. But it's not. It just, there's a lot of moments like Lithium, like you said, like Cremosa, like Snow White Queen, Good Enough. Like, these songs to me are not anything that I would listen to, right? It's just, I'm not into pop music as much as I am in rock and roll music. And there's like a line of like demarcation here. Like, I'm going to write some of my album in a rock way, and I'm going to write some of this by myself with a piano. And that's the type of stuff I don't really want to listen to. So The Open Door for me is, again, it's strong when it's strong. There's just not enough strong for me. So pretty simple for me, the way this one's slotted in after listening to them a few times. This is number 3 for me, probably like a B to a B minus. So we're right along the same here. There's these next two to me are the bottom couple, so it really kind of made it easy for me to put this one at number 3. So Open Door, number 3, B minus.
Fair enough. A couple of these are really close for me too, so we're going to have them probably rated the same, but we're just going to have them in a slightly different order. That's just what's going to happen because they're all similar in ways.
Same thing. Yep.
Yeah, so
you copy and paste a lot of the comments. A lot of it. We're like, oh, rock song. I like it. Ooh, her and her piano. Pass.
Yeah, orchestra song. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So on to the self-titled Evanescence from October 7th, 2011. 5 years, 12 songs. 5 years for the third album. Like, what are we doing? All right, so they got Nick Raskulinecz for this one. Fantastic sound on this one, as we come to expect from our friend Nick Raskulinecz.
Yep.
We've talked about him many times on our podcast. He does a great job. Originally, although it's supposed to be recorded with Steve Lillywhite, but Amy said he wasn't a good fit, so the album was delayed several times to find a producer and then write more material because Amy didn't feel like it was good enough. And then Amy also took 18 months off after the Open Door tour, and she didn't know what she wanted to do. She kind of did a hippie thing for a little while. She got into some folk and indie stuff and just kind of went off and did painting. And so I guess she just needed to find more inspiration to write songs. So there was kind of a lot of, not a lot, but probably half of the time off there was just her not knowing and the problems with producer. Their lack of producing albums really, I think, keeps them from being front of mind to me as their previous stuff kind of fades out. So, like, there's no anticipation for me when these albums come out. You know, it's so long. I've gotten into so many other things. I'm like, oh, that's right, Evanescence, they're still around. I wasn't sure if they just had the one album, you know, and it comes out, and then I feel like I'm starting over with them every time. You know, the album just comes out, and I'm like, oh, okay, and I guess I'll check this out. I mean, back then, I don't know, I was probably downloading them at the time or whatever, but I'm like, all right, let's go get this and check it out. Maybe it'll be back to the way it was on the first album. And I'm like, nope. Again, the number of listens on Spotify dropped way off too. I mean, that's not the end all be all, but you can tell by that what people still really like from them and what they don't, even today, because, you know, I don't know what it was like when it came out, but, you know, since it's been on Spotify, that's how many people have listened to it. It's not hundreds of millions anymore. Now it's tens of millions, and soon to be single millions, you know, on most of the songs on the album. So the stuff just isn't as good. You know, it's not as well received. They still have 26 million listeners a month, which is insane. It's a lot of listeners, but I feel like most of those people are going back to Fallen. They're like, oh, that's right, I really like this band, and they go back and listen to Fallen again. You know, lineup changes at guitar, bass, and drums. At this point, I mean, I mentioned Terry Balsamo because he was in Cold and it was a band I liked, and because there was a cool little story of him coming back from something that I liked. But I'm not going to go through all the lineup changes again. It's an Amy Lee band. There's changes on every album. I will mention one, but that's a producer later, because I feel like one man, just like with another band we just did a few letters ago, is responsible for updating their sound and really taking them into 2025 with what they do, and it sounds way better than any of this stuff does. So we won't waste too much time talking about this stuff that's just not nearly as good. But it's just, again, it's Amy being, you know, pretty much the only constant member, and I'm not going to keep mentioning names. So, especially names I don't know. I do feel like the songs are a bit more like the Fallen, I guess. A bit more like Fallen. Just kind of still missing the huge hooks, that I can't get out of my head. But, kind of more consistently, kind of like the first album. But again, we're really splitting hairs. None of this is great. And not that they really veered that far off anyway. Like I said, they kind of she keeps it tight in their own box, of what they do. And it doesn't stray too far off. But there's just not a lot of stuff that's memorable. It's just a little bit more consistent, where the last album, like you said, was more kind of top heavy, although I did really like The Only One, which is a later track, but not really the rest of it. I was with you. I don't really like. This is kind of more consistent, but again, this one doesn't have the big song. So it's a matter of more consistently decent stuff, or having a few bigger songs I really like and the rest of it being lesser good. That's kind of, so it's really splitting hairs between these two. With this one, I kind of went with more of the consistency. So my favorites on here are What You Want, Made of Stone, The End of the Dream is really good guitar, and Oceans I feel like has really good guitar in it too. Now those aren't great songs. They're not songs I'm going to go back and listen to a bunch of times. They're just the songs on here that I like the most, but they're only slightly better than the other ones. Skippers for me are Lost in Paradise. Feels like it's trying really too hard to achieve kind of past successes with songs of this type. Like it wants to rock, but she's holding it back. Like you said with My Immortal, like it's begging for the band to come in and start to rock, and it just never happens.
Yeah.
Swimming Home is another dud of a closer song. Terrible way to end this album. Just a really boring final track, just like what was it, Good Enough, whatever the last album, both songs just boring stuff. So I don't know if people really like these, and if she even plays them live. I doubt it, because they're really boring. That's bathroom break time for me. I'm gonna go walk around while she's playing that. I'm not gonna sit and listen to it. It's just not good. So again, this is a B minus range. Again, it's the same as the last album. It's splitting hairs between these two in particular. I do have one that's kind of pretty much worse than the other two, than these two that I have last. But this one I have at 3. But again, I could flip a coin between 3 and 4 between the last album and this one. A bit more consistency, which was good for me more than the Open Door, but still only a handful of memorable songs. The rest is just ho-hum Evanescence tracks that kind of sound like a lot of other ones. So, and don't really stand out. So, B number 3 for me for Evanescence. What did you think?
Yeah, right along with you. Again, I think we just kind of are the opposite with. I thought the last album was more top heavy. This is more consistent. I feel like she goes less to the I'm going to do this song by myself. It doesn't happen quite as much. There's a lot more of the band, I think, here overall, which is good. But yeah, there's not a whole lot on here that really stand out. To your point, just seeing her, I don't think I've ever heard anything live off of this album in my life. Seeing them, I don't think they play it. They might have played Made of Stone, I believe, in one of the shows that I seen them. But What You Want is pretty good. There's still a lot of piano in this song, even for a rocker. There's a lot of piano going on. I just give me more guitar. I just feel like they can do it. But What You Want is pretty good. Made of Stone, pretty good. I think that's why this one has dropped a little for me. A lot of pretty good songs, but not a whole lot of like great. Like for me, the last album, the first, 3 of the first 4 I think are really good. Here it's just like What You Want, Made of Stone. My Heart Is Broken is okay. Sick is okay too. There's just a lot of okay songs for me. Yeah. Not really. I don't probably think I would ever come back to this. Maybe other than those first 2 songs, What You Want and Made of Stone. Those are the 2 I think are the closest to being standout here. But man, I really avoided this album, and I remember trying to listen to it when it came out, and it was kind of a no-go for me. So again, not great. Again, I think she needed some changes here, and maybe that is why they keep changing band members.
Yep.
Maybe she's trying to find that thing. I don't know, because everybody's getting credit here. The band is getting credit overall for everything. But just this album's just not very strong, and it gets worse. This next one, where the songs are just not strong. So their self-titled album for me is number 4. I would say closer to the B- than the B for me. So I'll just say B- here. Just a lot of okay songs. Like you said, consistent. I can vibe with that. It is consistent. It's consistently not great, but it is consistent. And there is not a lot of her and the piano and just kind of wailing away, which bores me. So this album was kind of monotonous, but not boring. And for that reason, this one is number 4 for me. So self-titled number 4, B-.
All right, on to the bitter truth. Now we're going 10 years, a decade between new material. They put out Synthesis, as you mentioned earlier, in between in 2017, but that's just reworked previous songs off of the first 3 albums, plus 2 new ones. So there's 2 new songs in 10 years. So again, like, it's not entirely their fault, I guess, but it makes it hard for me to really get into this band with these huge layoffs of time. Oh, man. Again, so this was March 26, 2021. We were just in 2011. 2021, 12 songs. Nick Raskulinecz again. The layoffs, man. Oh, it's just ridiculous. Different lineup again. Once again, too much to keep track of. Not much of note for me as far as lineups go. Even less plays on Spotify than previous. I was saying before, we went from hundreds of millions on almost every song to hundreds of millions on 2 songs to tens of millions, and some now we're down to like, single millions. It's just the drop off is steep for that. Each album from the start has been declining kind of in listenership here. They still have tons of monthly listeners, but yeah, I don't know. More kind of blah material here, even less memorable than the previous 2 albums for me. It's got kind of an industrial tinge to it, which makes it seem kind of like a Manson Zombie Light, like kind of without the guitar, but with Amy singing instead of those 2 guys. But it just kind of, I kept getting this zombie love song light kind of vibe to it, like just a lot of like electronic sounds in there, which, isn't really. Yeah, they had keyboards, but they're kind of using that for more orchestral stuff and choral stuff, but not so much industrial sounds, which kind of this has some of that too. It's just, man, this is not a super enjoyable listening experience for me since Fallen. I mean, just especially this album. Like, this kind of really hits rock bottom here. It just, I thought I was going to like this band a lot more. Like, I thought I did like this band a lot more than I realized that I do. These 3 albums, I had to listen to all 3 of them multiple times because I kept thinking there was just huge hits kind of sprinkled throughout their catalog. And I'm listening to them and I'm like, where are they? Like, I didn't know they had this many songs. Like, I'm listening to whole albums and I'm like, there's not one song in here that I remember being like, oh yeah, that's that one huge Evanescence song that I heard in whatever year, there's none. Like, I couldn't believe it. So it really took me extra time to listen and try to figure out what I liked and didn't like on these albums, because I feel like none of it's memorable. I don't remember any of these tracks. So anyway, my favorites are Feeding the Dark, I guess, if I was going to choose a couple songs. Feeding the Dark and Blind Belief. And Blind Belief just because the guitar work, and it's not a terrible album closer like the last 2 albums. But it's got some good guitar work in it, even though I don't love either of those songs. But I guess if I had to pick 2. Skipper's Wasted on You, Use Your Voice, Far From Heaven. I don't like any of those at all, and I could probably skip more, but I don't want to name every track on the album. So this is, Again, I don't know why I'm being so kind, but I have this as like a C. This is just kind of an okay album for me. I struggle to find whole songs that I really like, which for me, I should probably rate it lower than that, because I'm struggling to find stuff that I like. I'm the one rating it for me. So I don't know why I'm giving it a C, but I guess I did. I don't know. But C, this is easy number 5. It's not even close. There's really nothing on here that I'm going to come back and listen to maybe ever again, unless we do Evanescence comes out with a 6th album, we do another discography. Maybe I'll come back and try to give it one more shot. But boy, I really didn't like this one very much, even though I gave it a C. So easy bottom of the barrel for me. What did you think of The Bitter Truth?
Yeah, so for me, so when I first album, I saw this band early on. I got lucky enough to go. They were at like a rib burn off or something silly, right? Where they headlined. It was at Tower City Amphitheater, and I'll always remember this day because it was the day that we won the first overall pick in the draft for. I think when we drafted LeBron, I want to say.
Yep.
But I was downtown at that BW3 over in the Flats. I don't think it's there anymore, but I was there watching the lottery, and then I went over to see Evanescence for that first album, which again was awesome. Again, with that first album, I was really into it at the time. But the reason I tell this story is because I did not see them again after that until this album. And they opened for Korn at Blossom, right? So to me, it was like, oh, cool. I'm going to go see Korn. They're always solid. And then Evanescence is opening for them. To me, that sounds great. Well, I guess Amy likes to really play her new albums, I guess, almost in their entireties, as I will get to when we get to the next album here. But she she played a lot of this album when they opened for Korn, and I was not very excited about it. So to me, like, this was kind of where I was out on Evanescence, where I remember they were at, I believe, a festival that I just skipped them altogether. I didn't even see them. I went to see somebody else that I just wanted to see that was new. And this album is that reason. This is not very good. Again, they've been backsliding, and there's just not a lot on this album that really stands out. It's not strong material. I agree with you that they're going a little bit with those industrial type electronic sounds, which they've always, I guess, kind of had a little bit. But like, this is the peak of them, and they do it in the new album. But I feel like they at least mix it better with guitar riffs and those type of things. This one, again, I don't know, a lot of eye rolling with listening to these songs, listening to these lyrics. It's just very girl power ish stuff, and like, man, this guy did me wrong, and it's not my demographic. I'll just say that, kind of to be nice. That a lot of these songs are just not very good. The things that I think that are okay, Broken Piece of Shine is okay. Better Without You is a pretty decent song. But that's about it for me. I don't really like a whole lot else. I'm alongside with that Wasted on You and Use My Voice. And I mean, that stuff is just, it's not for me. Yeah, I was, when I saw most of this album live a couple times, I was pretty sure I was out on this band. So I wasn't expecting anything from the next one. And maybe that's why I like the next one so much, is because my expectations were probably as low as you could get. But I remember going to this show for this tour and telling my wife, who, she liked it more than I did, but she's a woman, I get it. Like, with her, it's like, yeah, wasted all this time on you, and all that, like, all her previous stuff. And with me, I'm just like, yeah, I don't relate to any of this. To me, it's, where's the guitar? Where's the rock songs? Like, where's the anthems? Where's the sing-along choruses? It's not here for me. This is an easy number 5. I'm going to say C-, and just, to me, I don't know why it's not a D for me. I'm not going to come back and listen to any of this, but C- we'll go with. And again, yeah, I'm with you. Like, they played a couple songs off of this when I was listening to them last week at their live show. Yeah, I'm good with them skipping this one altogether. I'd rather them play stuff off the self-titled anytime. They can play a couple of those songs and I'd be fine with it. But Bitter Truth to me is not my thing. So number 5, right along with you, C-. Thank God that they came out with this new one, and Mr. H text me and, yo, Hurd, check this one out. You might want to listen to this one. So thank God for that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so on to that one. Thankfully, Sanctuary, this just came out June 5th, so 1 day short of 2 months ago. 12 songs on here. Now, on this one, okay, this is a big change. So we have Nick Raskulinecz producing with 5 other producers, including a guy who we just talked a lot about and I became a big fan of, on the letter B from Bring Me the Horizon, when Jordan Fish was in that band and really brought that band to the forefront. Like, they were doing all kinds of different stuff and Jordan Fish shows up and they exploded. Well, guess who updates the sound for this band? Like, I did not even know this. I just was like, I'm listening to this album and I wasn't able to read about it while I was listening to it again this last time. And I was just remarking to myself, like, how updated does this sound? Like, this is Evanescence, but it's updated. Like, it's their first album sounds like it came out in 2003 and it sounds like it came out in 2003. I don't mind that because I like a lot of music from 2003 and it sounds like that and I still like all those songs. But it sounds like 2003. If they tried to record that now, it would kind of sound out of place. That's not what bands sound like now. This album sounds like Evanescence, but sounds like it's in the mid-20s. Like, it sounds like it was written in 2025 without losing kind of who they were. Very like Lacuna Coil sounding. Lacuna Coil is way smaller scale than Evanescence. Better band. I like Lacuna Coil more than I like Evanescence, but way smaller band you're going to see in tiny venues like we just saw, at the Globe Iron here, that, 1,000-seat places, not arenas, so... But very similar. Lacuna Coil is really good. They do a great job of updating their sound, but without really changing who they are. But their albums don't sound in 2013 and 16 like they do now. Like, they sound different now. They're more updated, but it still sounds like Lacuna Coil. That's what's great about this album. It's more hard rock music, kind of more in the, I don't know, Ice Nine Kills kind of vein, or like, bands that are current now that have this sound to them, Falling in Reverse, or, bands that are current that are hard rock bands, they have a different kind of sound to them. This sounds like that. It sounds like Bring Me the Horizon. And it's got to have to do with Jordan Fish. It has to. And there's 5 other producers on here too, but there are also lots of songwriters listed on this album. More outside help and influence than ever before. Again, most of the songwriting on the previous 2 albums are contributed to together as a band, but I always, because the players are always changing, I'm always thinking that's really mostly Amy. But in this case, maybe the writing process was getting too stale and they had to change it up, or maybe Amy's just tired of writing the same songs. But whatever they did, it's working. It works here. This has most of the same band members as The Bitter Truth, so maybe that helps too. Maybe they're more, she'll take more ideas from them. She knows them a little bit better. I don't know. But it is kind of weird, though. There is one right up in here where I read it out. It just kind of rolled my eyes because we talked about writing, girl power kind of songs and how that kind of divides your audience. Well, in this case, she wanted to get a little political in this one. And originally, this was kind of inspired to be anti-right-wing political album. Again, so she does a lot of complaining about how politics divide us, right? So how do you respond to that? Yeah, let's write an album that's bashing one side of the political spectrum and divide your audience the same way you hate that politics do. You see how that works, Amy? It doesn't work. Don't do that. Dumb. So anyway, it's a good thing I don't care about much, if at all, the lyrical content, because whatever gets you up in the morning to write music, I guess. But it's so silly to do, like, to hate that politics divide people and then write an album that pretty much hates one side of politics. Like, what are you doing? You're doing exactly what you don't want to happen. I don't know. But she said something like, we don't have a choice. We've been forced into this situation where if we don't speak up and fight back against tyranny, against human rights violations, against blowing people up, we're next. Oh, okay. So, yeah. Again, the good thing is the political messaging in here is pretty subtle in the lyrical content. It isn't like directly noticeable, so that's good. Even though I'd listen to it anyway because I like heavy music and I'll continue to use Rage Against the Machine as an example. I can't relate to any of that stuff that they're really singing about there, but I love it. So this is kind of the same thing. So I just want to throw that out there because it's just the kind of hypocrisy of, I don't like that this divides us, but here I'm going to bash one side to divide us. Like, it never made sense to me. But this is great, again, modern sounding hard rock music. But as much as I like it, I still don't want to hear 12 songs off of the album live. I mean, what are they doing there? I get they want to promote it, but that's a lot. But from what you're saying, it sounds like they do that with a lot of their albums, that she wants to 12 songs, like a 21 song set is fantastic to go see a live band that you really like. You hope that they play 21 songs and not like 13, right? So huge credit for them playing 21 songs. But why 12 of them off the same album? Oh my goodness. So it's only been out a couple months. I'm not sure a lot of the people at the show really maybe even had time to digest all of this album. And they're like, wow, here's another song that I don't really know that well. And another one, and another one, and another one. I'm like, geez. I don't know. I thought that was kind of an interesting thing, but maybe that's just what she does. I've only seen them, as I know of, I think one time. I think it was at that Korn show you were at. I just know I saw them open for somebody. They were good, but they didn't really blow me away. You know, I really liked the songs they played off of Fallen that I heard, and then the other ones I was like, okay, these are all right. Just kind of like I said about the last 3 albums. And then they moved on, and then I saw the next band or whoever. So. But this one, again, like you had mentioned earlier, this one's very top-heavy for me. But I do like this one, and the more I listen to this album, the more I like it, which is a good thing. So my favorites are Beautiful Lie, Tell Me When You've Had Enough, Who Will You Follow, Afterlife. Those are 4 of the first 5 songs on this album. So it makes it top-heavy for me. Skippers, Forever Without You. Amy sounds great. This was also co-written by Skylar Grey, but Amy sounds great on this one, but the song is just kind of meh. Like what this song is Amy holding long notes. Like she does it over and over and over again. She holds these really long notes. She sounds amazing, but the song really goes nowhere. It's just her kind of showing off her singing ability, which is fantastic, but the song, it's just, there's nothing to it. I couldn't tell you what she's singing about or what's really going on. It's just her holding these really long notes. So I didn't really understand that one, but really that's the only song on here that I really didn't like. So I have this as a B+. I have this number 2. I like this one quite a bit, and it gets better for me with more listens. Unlike, the other last 3 albums that we did. Those I'm probably not going to come back to much of, but this one I'm going to continue to listen to because it is new. It sounds modern. It's not just the same old Evanescence. There's not a lot of orchestra in here. There's some piano in here, but it's got updated guitar sound. Like, it's got just like the tone of it and everything. It sounds like a current hard rock band. And I don't like all of those either. Obviously they have to have good songs, but this is what bands sound like now, and they've updated this to still be Evanescence, but in an updated sound, and it works. It really does work for them. So I'm looking forward to listening to this album more, and hopefully another album that doesn't take 5 years to come out. But I guess this one was worth the wait. So B+, number 2, easy for me. This one's kind of by itself. I've got the Fallen, and then I've got this one, and then the next 2 are close, and then the bottom one's the bottom one. So it really wasn't all that hard a ranking other than the 2. But like I said, B+ and Rising with Sanctuary for me, number 2. What did you think?
Yeah, I'm with you here. This was really, really good. It was like a reboot, right? Like we talk about in movies or we talk about in comic book stuff, like I'm really into. Like, I feel like it's very familiar, but yet it's brand new. Basically, everything that you said it perfectly. Just an updated sound for them. They really needed it. And maybe Amy Lee was, instead of coming out and say, whatever, to admitting anything to mistakes that she's made, she came out and she did this album. She, meshed with Rascalinets and, like you said, Jordan Fish and Zach Cervini. And yeah, I mean, these guys are just, they're on top of their game right now. Like, they're producing everybody's albums, and they just really know
another
what
one.
they're
I forgot
doing.
to mention him.
Yep. Absolutely. So yeah, a lot of very top heavy, and we've talked about this where with me, it's strong, and then it hits like about song 8, About Us, and that's where it starts losing me a little bit. But I do really like the beginning of this album. Beautiful Lie, like you said, Tell Me When You've Had Enough. I think Who Will You Follow is great. Like, that is like the closest that they've come to one of these songs, like Call Me When You're Sober, or one of those early on songs that got big for them, Bring Me to Life. Who Will You Follow? Just very, very sing-songy, chorusy, with that heavy riff when it comes in. Fantastic. Rapture, I think, is good. It's a little strange. It's a little more of that industrial type style, but I think they do it fine. Afterlife is really, really good. The title track, Sanctuary, I really like. But again, once you hit about song 8 and you hit a little slowed down About Us, and then you mentioned Forever Without You, I just could kind of give or take some of the end of that album. But it does hit really top heavy, but it's really, really good. I'll also shout out to, which is a bonus track, the Fight Like a Girl song that they do. It was really good when they did it live. I really, really like it. I like the chorus of that song. And then she did a song with the girl from Spirit Box and Poppy, The End of You, which I think is as good of a song, and it was a collaboration, but I think that's probably one of Amy Lee's best songs. So all these songs have come out right about here. Just Amy's hitting on all cylinders right now with the people she's working with the songwriters, with the sound that she's going for. I mean, this one is just hit. But to kind of piggyback what H was saying, seeing this show live, playing all 12 songs is ridiculous to me. It makes no sense. And the crowd was getting bored. I could see it. Like, what they were doing is they were sitting and waiting, and then a big song would come from Fallen, and then a group of people would leave, right? There'd be a handful of them that would leave, and then she'd play a couple more songs from this, and then she'd come out with Call Me When You're Sober, and then they sing along to that, and they love that song, and then they go back to a couple songs of this, and people are leaving. Like, people do not want to hear 12 songs, your whole new album. Like, I'm sorry, there's probably a small percentage, maybe 5% of your fans out there that are like, I love this new album. That's what I love. They want to hear, 4 songs from Fallen, 3 songs from Open Door. They want to hear the hits. They want to hear stuff off the albums that they've been listening to for years. It's too much. It is way too much. I just think you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. People aren't staying the whole time. I think she closed with one of these songs off of here. Maybe it was Forever Without You, which to me it was like, close with one of your song. To me, strategy wise, like, keep the people in their seats for longer. But when you play Bring Me to Life like halfway through your set and people start leaving, like, to me that's like, it's just kind of sabotage.
Tourniquet was in the middle too there, I think I saw. Yeah.
It just, again, the flow of their set, they got some really good songs off here, and I'm really glad that they're playing those songs live. And for me, again, I'm with you. This is easily number 2 for me, with Growing Power. I don't know if it'll catch Fallen for me,
like
but it's really, really good. It's a grower, not a shower. So I'm
Super
thinking
Mario Growing Power. Bling, bling, bling.
Yep. Exactly.
Awesome.
But good stuff. I'm about with you. Maybe like a B to a B B to a B plus. It's good, but again, I think my problem with them is, again, I don't really love any of their albums front to back. You love the first one front to back, which makes that easy for you.
Yeah.
But with me, I feel like there's lulls in all the stuff, and it's probably just genre related to me. But Sanctuary, very impressive, very good. Number 2, and I liked it, and I'm going to keep listening to it because it is really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's never going to be Fallen for me, but I feel like I'm probably going to like this one more before I get tired of it or move on, to other things, because it is really good. And it's only been out a couple months. I've listened to it maybe, well, with the 2 times this week, probably 6-7 times now total. So, I'm going to keep going because it's still, I do still like it. I listened to it again. When I listened to it this week, I'm like, yeah, I did. I wasn't mistaken. I wasn't thinking, it wasn't some other bizarro universe. Like, I really did like this album, and it is really good.
Yep.
All right, so here's my top 5 Evanescence. Top 5. Only 5. Number 5, The Bitter Truth. Number 4, The Open Door. Number 4, The Open Door. Nice. Number 3, self-titled Evanescence, Evan Science. Number 2, Sanctuary. Number 1, Fallen. The top 2 easily, and number 5 easily the bottom. 3 and 4 were a little tougher, but I think we're pretty much in agreement with these guys. So what were yours 5?
Yep, same as you. Just flipped 3 and 4 for me. So number 5, The Bitter Truth, is that it wasn't very good. Number 4, the self-titled. Number 3, the open door. So I didn't get the rhyme that you did, which is disappointing. But 2 was Sanctuary, and number 1 was Fallen. So that's Evanescence for you. I'm actually
It is
kind of glad now that I've listened to it. Maybe we don't want more recent music. I mean, we want them now, but maybe that 10 years between albums, maybe that would have given us more stuff we didn't like. That's just...
Yeah, within that time frame, you're probably right. Maybe in 17, if they would have come out with an actual whole new album, maybe we wouldn't have liked that one either. So maybe you're right. Maybe they did us a favor. Amy did us a favor, and we didn't even know.
Maybe.
Thanks,
That's
Amy.
Just looking at it. Yeah, thanks, Amy.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. But thank you for Sanctuary, because Sanctuary is pretty dang good. So
thank you for loosening your death grip on whatever it was you were doing there, and letting some other people in, because it worked. Just like it did on Fallen. It worked. It's really good. So
absolutely
fantastic.
All right, partner. Anything else for Evanescence for you? I think we've covered it all pretty much.
Yeah, nothing on them. I think I only got one show coming up too. I got Demon Burger, as my buddy Rob and I like to call him. Demu Burger.
The more Burger.
Yeah, and the like you said, and a band called Hypocrisy and a band called Holder, but Hypocrisy apparently had visa problems and dropped off of the tour, so I don't know if they're going to replace them, but I think that's next Thursday the 13th, so that'll be after our next podcast. So, but I think that's all I got coming up show-wise. Who are you working anybody? You going to see anybody coming up here?
Some country shows coming up, which is just not my thing. I think Riley Green, I think is the next guy's name. I couldn't name a song from him. I don't know, but it did sell out. So obviously people like it.
Very popular.
Yep. So we got him coming up. I got some contemporary stuff coming up at the casino. Nothing great. Amy Grant, I think, which is I know she was big in the 80s, Christian and other stuff. So she's coming. Yep, more girl power stuff. And so not a whole lot. Like I said, Five Finger Death Punch coming up in a few weeks. So I'm interested to see what they sound like live now. It's been a while since I've seen them.
I'm interested to hear what you say they sound like live. But again, people tell me that I haven't listened to it yet, but their new album, I think, just came out on Friday. So apparently people are telling me it's pretty good. So I have not listened to it myself yet, so I cannot say. But I will... I think I still owe you a review of the second re-recording that I just completely tore to shreds the first part that came out. And I don't think I ever listened to the second part, but oh god, the first one was so bad. I don't even know if I want to listen to the second one, but yeah, I'll check out their new one. I mean, I was a huge fan of them first 3 albums. Yeah, and I drove to Grand Rapids by myself. I drove 5 hours to see this band by myself. Oh my goodness, I really really like them. But yeah, they've kind of fallen off slowly and fell off really hard lately with just Ivan. Just he sounded terrible on that first one where they re-recorded songs. He sounded so bad. So I'm like, what's this going to sound like live? But I guess you'll let me know. So because I'm not going, I'm not spending more money on that.
Yep, I understand. All right, well, shout out to Wolverine 259. Cheers to you too, my friend. Thank you for stopping by tonight and hanging out with us. We appreciate you. And thanks everybody for listening. Thanks everybody for listening. Okay,
yes.
he did say loves you H. So
yeah.
I was hoping that he knew you, or you just had a new fan. Either way, I guess that's good news.
Yeah, that's my old buddy Bucko. Oh, amazing review. He's still here. It said he didn't comment for an hour, so I wasn't sure he was even still listening. But there he is.
He got
still
bored.
Here.
He got as bored listening to Evanescence as I got bored listening to The Bitter Truth. So thanks for hanging with us, Wolverine. Appreciate that, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, check out their new album. You said you didn't know that it just came out 2 months ago. I think you might like it. So when you're done eating,
check it out.
Don't want you to throw up while you're eating. Maybe you don't really like it, but highly recommended.
All right, partner. Thanks for hanging out. And as always, we will see you in the next one.
Rock on.
Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What would you say you do here?
God damn it. Bob, we love playing here tonight. My brother's ready.
It helps if you think of it as a game, Bob. Every game has a winner and a loser.
You must possess strength to inflict pain, Bob.